Hey, 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 happy Thursday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Thursday, May 27th, 2021. This is live stream number 672. So if this is your first time joining me, let me point out this is super casual. We're not performing rocket surgery here by any stretch of the imagination. We're just hanging out, talking about the latest in gaming news. So the first half of the show, I'll normally talk about the latest in tabletop gaming. So we'll talk about board games, role-playing games, miniatures games, you name it. If it's going on the tabletop, we're probably talking about it. Then, usually about the second half of the show, I will take a first look at a tabletop game. Today, because I like to cover role-playing games on Thursdays, we're going to be taking a first look. I'm going to page through Amazing Heroes, which is from Martin Lloyd. It is part of the Amazing Tales line of family-friendly role-playing games. And obviously enough, this is a Lovecraftian horror game, right? Dude, it's supers, obviously enough. Come on. So I do want to remind you, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live most Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. I will discuss that in a moment. But it will also inform you when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of Mutant Crawl Classics from Goodman Games. This is on the horizon. In fact, June 1st, I'm going to kick off my spring fling here at the Gaming Gang. And there will be a brand new review each and every day during the month of June. Somebody had actually emailed saying, well, why are you calling it a spring fling? It's in June. And I guess it's probably because June is still spring. I'm one of these people where, you see all these commercials and it's like spring savings and blah, blah, and it's March and it's still 40 degrees out and we get snow on occasion. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't feel like spring, at least now, except in the Chicagoland area for the next couple of days. It feels like spring. So that's why it's the spring fling. Easy enough. Anyway, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And lastly, do want to mention this is a live stream, so that means chat is available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, please chime in, and I will do my best to respond. So far, that we've got the Madman Yes, the Motor City Madman is hanging out, and he has the day of the week correct. Because normally the Madman lives in the future. If you're not familiar with the dispatch, the Madman is one of our chat moderators, and he does live in the future. He comes back 24 hours or so, but he never tells us what's going to happen the next day. I don't know. What's the point of time travel if you're not going to share what's happened? So, and Sarah D's with us. Sarah usually kind of lurks around, hangs out. She mentions to Madman not to feel bad about getting the day of the week wrong. She says she only knows what day of the week it is based on which newspaper or weekly mailing that she has to put in the boxes. Aha! So that has given us a clue as to what Sarah does as far as a career. Flight attendant, obviously. Obviously, or pilot. There you go. Maybe a pilot. No, I don't think that's it. All right, Kevin R. Smith has joined us in chat as well. Disavowed 92 is popping in. So we're going to get chat off and running tonight. Do you want to mention, I will mention this again after the news, for those who tune in a little bit later. Remember, I am off all next week. So there are no episodes of the Gaming Gang Dispatch streaming live next week. I will return on Monday, June 7th at the usual time, same bat time, same bat channel. But just want to let everybody know that Monday, if they're sitting around and they're like, oh, hey, how come I haven't gotten a notification that the Dispatch stream has started? You'll know why. Unless you don't watch this show, or if you haven't watched shows this week, then you'd be like, what the hell happened to Jeff? Did he have another heart attack and croak? I would hope not. Kevin Thorpe is with us too. All right, we got the chat off and running. So how about we jump on into the news, because I got a nice mix of news items this week. Now up for crowdfunding from SolarFlare Games is Quests, Heroes of Cercado. Here's the skinny. Welcome to Quests, Heroes of Cercado, an epic fantasy cooperative campaign for 1 to 6 players. In each of 8 adventures, plus a bonus training adventure, you'll build your character, acquiring powerful spells and weapons, increase your abilities by defeating monsters and evading traps, and forge your path through choice-driven events, story moments, and side quests. Add up your hero's character, weapon, and magic bonuses and roll dice for damage against fearsome foes, with each adventure culminating in a boss fight that will require all of your best items, potions, abilities, and a bit of luck. With a 60-page campaign story and 140-plus, should have said 60-plus page campaign story, and 140-plus pages of additional story events and choices, players can immerse themselves in a world beset by a demon lord bent on total destruction, otherwise known as the United States in 2017. Nope! I didn't go there, did I? Yeah, I did. Choose your destiny, hone your weapons, and find out if you have what it takes to save Cercado from utter destruction at the hands of the Dark Lord. There is a short Kickstarter video from SolarFlare Games, so let's kick back and give it a peek.
Welcome to a story of darkness and light, of heroes and legends, and an enemy that waits in the shadows for a chance to drown the world of the living in fire and blood. Deep beneath the peaceful kingdom of Cercado, evil is stirring. The seals on a demon lord's ancient prison weaken, and monstrous beasts roam the land. Enter a fantasy world of adventure, where survival hangs on the choices you make and the roll of a die. Propel yourself and your fellow heroes through a cooperative story campaign that will take you from the Blade's Edge Mountains to the crypt of the fallen hero. Make friends and fight fearsome foes. Pick your path through traps and choose how to handle events, learning skills and gaining treasure to aid you in your travels. Sharpen your blades and master your spells, for only the bravest will survive the final battle, defeat the Demon Lord, and become true heroes of Sorcado.
Once again, Quests, Heroes of Sorcado is for 1 to 6 players, ages 13 and up. Plays in around 2 hours. I would assume per adventure. Not all 8 adventures take only 2 hours. This Kickstarter is beginning to close in on its funding goal, and you can reserve a copy of the game plus unlock stretch goals for a $59 pledge through June 15th. Expected delivery is next January. So if you are not overly familiar with SolarFlare Games, I have covered some of their games in the past. I've done some Kickstarter previews. I did not preview this because I don't think there were actually prototypes out there. I think some folks were doing previews based on like Tabletop Simulator, which if you are curious about this game, I believe you can check out a demo on Tabletop Simulator. But I did, oh gosh, now I'm trying to remember the name of the games. Well, of course, obviously enough, there's a series of Robotech games that SolarFlare Games has done. Dead Run is the name of the series. And one was zombies and one was aliens. And it was actually a pretty fun dice chuck and push your luck sort of series of games. Now, this looks like this is a bit meatier than any of those. Actually, looks meatier than the Robotech games as well. So if you're looking for kind of a co-op fantasy GM-less RPG, this could be pretty interesting. Which the Madman also points out, this does look pretty interesting. So my good buddy from high school, Scott Weigel, has joined us. Hey, Scott. Thanks for coming and hanging out on a Thursday, actually my Friday. So, do want to mention, it's Thursday, so we already know that brings us a free PC game over at the Epic Game Store. So, last week, there was a leak that it was going to be NBA 2K21, and that was our free game from the Epic Game Store. So, of course, there was a leak that this week's game was going to be Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration, which is from Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix. So, of course, there we go. DRC Fungus has popped in. Yes, Dead Run Nightmare Forest. Thank you. I don't know why that didn't just pop right on into my head there. Anyway, so there was this big leak. Oh, and every outlet jumped all over this. And remember last week, I said I didn't want to share the NBA 2K21 in case that wasn't what was the free game. Then I'd have to look like an idiot. So I am not one of these people who wants to jump on things. Oh, I got to be the first one to put something out there because it's usually wrong. And of course, this week, our free PC game over at the Epic Game Store is Among Us from InnerSloth. Here's the deal. Play with 4 to 10 players online or via local Wi-Fi as you attempt to prepare your spaceship for departure. But beware, as one or more random players among the crew are imposters bent on killing everyone. Life as a crewmate, you'll complete all your tasks on the ship to win, but watch out for those imposters. Report dead bodies, call emergency meetings to vote the imposters out. And you better hope you choose correctly. Play as an imposter, cause chaos, sneak around, and frame innocent bystanders. Winning involves killing off every other crewmate. Think you're a master of sabotage? Choose how you want to play. Add more imposters, tasks, decrease visibility, and more. Lots of customization options, all in a style, as you get to choose your favorite color, outfit, and hat. It is also cross-platform compatible, so you can play with your friends between PC, Android, and iOS. I would have shared a short video, but all of the official videos for Among Us, the launch videos, are 30 seconds long. So I thought it's kind of silly for me to share the launch video. It's only 30 seconds. Plus, with my luck, I'd get flagged for a copyright violation because there'd be music in it. Yes. I know tons of people play Among Us, and they love it. I know my nephew Cameron had been playing it with his friends as well. I have not played it. I have not checked this out. I do find it funny because I think there were a lot of people who were upset that this was the free game and not Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration. And it was, I have to chuckle because there was an article I ran across last night because I was just curious what it might be. I wasn't going to be like, oh, well, I'm breaking this, leak. No. But I ran across one website, and they went through all these details about why it would be Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration. And I mean, it was like, well, it's always a game that's been released for free within a certain period of time on other platforms, and it's always a game that's it's got to be at least 6 months old and all this other nonsense. And sure enough, look where that got him. It's Among Us. I love it. I wouldn't be surprised if Epic Games is going to do a freebie for Rise of the Tomb Raider, and they pulled the rug out from under that this week, and they'll do it next week. Because they did that one time before. So everybody was expecting a big premium game. And I'm not knocking Among Us because people love it. And InnerSloth was taken by surprise at how popular this is. All right. Anyway, so Flaming Heron says people were speculating a lot of things. They were, but the main one that they were, because I know I had actually had my fingers crossed that it would be Football Manager 2021, because I happen to be a fan of that series of games. And there were a lot of other things, but the vast majority of sites out there were saying, "Oh, here it comes! It's going to be Rise of the Tomb Raider." It's like womp 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 womp. So Scott was talking a little bit about quests, mentioning that they had not been paying close attention to Kickstarter and did not happen to see that. And it looks like it's a possibility for a game night option, maybe over beer or mead. Yes, Scott enjoys his mead. And points out that his town has a mead hall with gaming space. There you have it. Plus, I do want to mention the turnaround on Quest isn't too bad. They're Dave over at SolarFlare Games is indicating that it's going to be January. So I know we see a lot of stuff where it's like a year, sometimes 18 months later. So turnaround's going to be pretty good on that. And from past experience, SolarFlare Games does complete their Kickstarters. They deliver on their Kickstarters. Even though this has not hit its funding yet, I'm sure it will. All right, let's talk about some role-playing game news because there is another bundle of holding that's arrived. I know there's been loads and loads of RPG bundles to take advantage of and save huge money on. Well, this new bundle of holding actually features Mithras from the design mechanism. Here's the dope. Adventurer. This Mithras setting bundle brings you many recent campaign worlds and supplements for Mithras, the RuneQuest-based fantasy tabletop role-playing game by the design mechanism. This new offer presents the standalone Lioness rulebook and 2 adventures, the licensed Luther Arkwright setting and its Parallel Lines campaign, and the massive Jungle Pulp sandbox, Monster Island. And in case if you didn't get any of the past Mithras offers, we also include the Mithras core rulebook, so you have everything you need for a complete campaign in the Elder Isles, the Sorcerer's Jungle, or adventures across the multiverse. For just $7.95, you get all 6 titles in the starter collection, which has a retail value of $47. These are DRM-free PDFs, and they include the complete 304-page Mithras core rulebook, the Mithras Companion Rules expansion, 2 combat modules that illuminate the game's combat system, take cover, and breaking the habit, and Monster Island, along with the Monster Island Companion. If you pay more than the threshold price of $20.06, don't know where the 6 cents comes out, but it is 6 cents. You'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 5 more titles worth an additional $50, including the standalone Lioness role-playing game core rulebook, the Lioness Adventures in High Dudgeon and Codefalt Stipule, as well as Luther Arkwright role-playing across the parallels and its 8-scenario campaign, Parallel Lines. These savings run through June 13th. 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to this offer's pandemic-related charity, Direct Relief. Sweet. So if you are not familiar with what Lioness is, and I think, as I have a hair hanging right in my eye, zoinks! If you are not familiar with that role-playing game, it is based on the Dying Earth stories of Jack Vance. Aha! Yes. I have always heard good things about Mithras, especially if you like the RuneQuest system, the mechanics, right? If you like the D100 mechanics of RuneQuest, but maybe you're not so keen on Glorantha and Bronze Age role-playing, Mithras has, if I understand correctly, I am not overly familiar with it, so I do want to point that out. I do believe it has more of a kind of high fantasy feel to it. So there is a big discussion going on about mead. Yeah, Scott and the Madman are going back and forth talking about various mead making techniques, I believe. So cool. Gosh, it has been a long, long time since I had mead. It's got to be at least 15 years since I had something along those lines. All right, moving right along. Fans of the OSR should take note that the Merry Mushmen had the 2nd volume of Knock up for crowdfunding. It's the 2nd issue, I should say, not necessarily 2nd volume. But here's the scoop. Haven't finished reading Knock issue 1? Well, hurry up. The 2nd volume is about to be sent to the printer, and it's even more full of gonzo goodness than the first one. We did it again. We gathered some of the most respective, most creative, and possibly weirdest minds of the old school role-playing scene and compiled some of their best work to make this thick magazine. Once again, we made Knock the overstuffed bric-a-brac we had dreamed of. We hope you still have some room on your part of the gaming shelf that's easy to reach from the gaming table. This second issue is 224 pages in an A5 format, 5.9 inches by 8.25 inches, slightly bigger than digest size, in beautiful full color, printed on quality paper, coated 130 grade with a cover on coated 300 grade. It's filled with that old school / adventure gaming unique flavor. Thoughts about system and substance, useful rules and procedures, random tables and lists, pages of maps, 6 new classes, 9 new monsters, and 4 complete adventures. The Kickstarter project for the second issue of Knock is well past 1,000% funded. Yeah. There is a quick Kickstarter video. So let's take a peek. So if you watched closely enough, you could have read all 224 pages of Knock issue 2. Seemed like you were seeing almost the whole thing, right? Anyway, as I mentioned, this project is well past 1,000% funded. You can reserve a physical copy of issue 2 of Knock, which will include a PDF, for a $32 pledge. Or you can just score the zine itself as a PDF for a $19 pledge through June 24th. Expected delivery is, get ready for this, July. Yes, this is all ready to go to the printer. I did see a comment from the Merry Mushmen mentioning worst case scenario, this would end up shipping out in August. Pretty wild. So I know the first issue of Knock was very, very popular. And I only have one small beef. And that is, I'm not real big on the whole influence that Mjörkberg has had on role-playing games, especially the OSR. It's just, I don't know. It just seems like there's so much of this. If you look at it, a lot of the fonts and things like that just scream Mjörkberg. I know, Morkborg. But I did hear the first issue was really, really good, especially if you are a fan of the old school Renaissance, which I am. So Anyway, those of you joining a little bit late, welcome to the Mead Hour. I'm Jeff McAleer, your Mead host. Jump in a chat, share all your thoughts about mead. There you go. Look, Flavor Huron says same thing. That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. So, right on the same wavelength. I'm talking about that, and all of a sudden I see a little chat come up from Flaming Huron. All righty. But I think it's pretty cool that this is going to ship out like right away. I think that's awesome. So essentially all they're looking to do is they're using Kickstarter as an order fulfillment. But I think the Merry Mushmen are over in the UK. I think they are across the pond. All right. My final news piece. There's a new apocalyptic science fiction role-playing game that's arrived from Bloat Games. Here's the scoop on Scorched. Bloat Games is excited to announce Scorched. This game is based on the simple concept, what if Luke never left Tatooine? It's definitely heavily Star Wars inspired with a side of Mad Max thrown in for good measure. And did we mention it has power armors? Scorched is a full standalone tabletop role-playing game clocking in at 223 pages, but it's also fully compatible with the Blackest Space. I am not familiar with that. And can be used as a supplement to that game also. Scorched is a game that utilizes the BOD game system created by Eric Bloat for the Blackest of Deaths RPG. Wow, there's a lot of black in these series of role-playing games, huh? The BOD, which I guess is Blackest of Deaths, game system is based on the D20 open game license with updates and alternate rules, most notably the core mechanic roll D20 and D6 simultaneously. Oh my God, that's madness! Who thought of that? They must be insane. When you attack, make a save, make a skill roll, whatever, what have you. Roll a D20 and a D6 and add any applicable modifiers to the D20 roll. If you meet or beat the target difficulty check or evade score, you succeed. On the D6, don't add modifiers unless specifically instructed to, and ignore a roll of 2, 3, 4, or 5. So you're basically looking for 1 or 6. On a roll of 1, you'll add a hindrance, and on a roll of 6, you'll add a benefit. Hindrances add additional challenge or difficulty that was not present before the attempt. As an example, a security officer is successful with their laser attack. Pew, pew. Laser gun, however, has jammed, and it costs the officer their next attack to fix it. A benefit adds an additional convenience that was not present before the attempt. As an example, an attacker uses their laser gun, but misses the mark. Pew, pew. However, as the opponent attempts to dodge the attack, they hit their head on a doorway. I hate when that happens. The 223-page PDF of Scorched is available at DriveThruRPG for $9.99. I have to say, the cover of this role-playing game is sort of like zoinks. So there's a Star Destroyer in the desert of Tatooine. Kind of funny. I'm kind of curious how much Star Wars-y stuff is in this. Hey, it's $10. Come on. Plus, it's from a company I've never heard of. So there's that too. I like to share a little love for some of these small publishers out there. All right, that is it for the news this time out. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG, and the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to go visit, say, DriveThruRPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. I also do want to mention, if you like what I do, if you like thegaminggang.com, if you like the channel, if you like catching the live streams or my reviews, consider buying me a cup of coffee or 2-liter soda, what have you. There is a small ad on thegaminggang.com. Which basically says, hey, buy Jeff a cup of Joe. And it's got that famous picture of the GI with the mug of coffee. So if you like what I do, by all means, help support the channel and go to paypal.me/thegaminggang. Got quite a few folks who are helping support the channel. Thank you very much. I know we've got the Madman. We've got, see, now I'm going to be sitting there like, some folks aren't in chat tonight who are people who, make little donations and stuff. But we've got the Madman. We have Eduardo Rodriguez was another brand new one. Oh, gosh. JP Falconer Honor, who is not with us. Yes. So Scott points out, I think this is what he's insinuating, is you can buy me a cup of coffee or 2-liter bottle of soda or a mead. There's that. So, other thing I do want to mention is, okay, as I opened the show up, I said, hey, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Of course, by all means, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please comment on the videos because YouTube's algorithm includes comments, and the more comments on a video, the much more likely YouTube will share it with somebody who's not a subscriber. So, very, very cool. So I'm not asking you to write a novella, and I'm certainly not expecting you to sit there and be like, oh, Jeff, you're just wonderful. To say, hey, you know what? That Quests game on Kickstarter looked kind of interesting. Or comment about the role-playing game we are going to be taking a peek at in just a few moments. But before I do, did want to comment. Somebody had emailed me. I've been asked this before, and I really haven't broached the subject much. But somebody asked me if I thought there was a lot of ageism in tabletop gaming. And if you recall, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, I got an email from some idiots talking about how they couldn't wait for, what was it, straight, fat, white guys like me to die out of the hobby or some nonsense like that. And it was kind of like, dude, if it weren't for people like me, you wouldn't have a hobby. Anyway, I don't see it. I don't run across it. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. And I know there are a lot of people who do not watch these videos because I am 53 years old. I get it. I understand that. Plus, they don't like my personality either. That's something else. Because I'm not, a 20-something who's like, oh, hey, God, wait. How far can I stick my nose up your ass? Oh, my God. So, but I really don't see it. I don't see it at conventions. And it was kind of funny because last Gen Con that Elliot and I ended up going to, so did my brother and my nephew. But Elliot was kind of like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to go to Gen Con anymore. I feel old. And then, of course, we were there like 20 minutes. He turns to me, he goes, I don't feel old at all. He's like, I'm pretty young compared to some of these people. I'm like, I know. As an example, right? Goodman Games, I think, this is just my vibe right? I think Joseph Goodman kind of focuses his products on the older role players out there, the role players who are in their 40s and 50s and older, and has done quite well. Goodman Games has done quite well for themselves, considering they're a small company and it's role playing games, right? So, Omanal has joined us in chat. Good to see you. Thanks very much for swinging on in. Kevin says, I think most gamers, old and young, aren't really ageist, but the ones who are make a lot of noise online. That's kind of like everybody, right? Yeah, there's like, oh, Twitter outrage. It's like, yeah, some folks on Twitter. That's why I'll see stuff, and it's kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent that way. I see where it's like, oh, this is trending, and it's because it's got like 1,200 tweets. I'm like, that's it? 1,200 tweets out of the millions of people who are on Twitter? It's like you're sharing something telling me it's trending because there's 1,200 tweets about it, and like 10% of them are just have nothing to do with that topic, that hashtag. It's just people are throwing that hashtag in to their own tweets so that they show up when people look at, oh, The Rock is trending. What's going on with The Rock? And they click on it, and then it's somebody, and it's their twerk video, and they've just got The Rock as a hashtag along with tons of other stuff trending. It's like, uh-huh. So the Madman says a recent study shows that having friends of various age groups makes you smarter. Yes, there's also studies that say that the more profanity that you use, the more intelligent you are as well. Yeah, so I'm surprised I don't have a brain like the leader, from Marvel Comics, right? My skull like all, because I swear a lot. Flaming Heron says the biggest noise usually comes from those who just want to make noise, and then suddenly you don't hear from them after their rants. It's true. Kevin says, I'm the token Gen Xer in a group of millennials in the Pathfinder group that just started meeting again. They're all fully vaccinated. It says apparently I hit the return key accidentally a lot. I was going to say, I wasn't sure. So the Madman says he is a former sailor, Coast Guard, if I remember correctly. And he's a genius. Omanel says, I think it's maturity rather than ageism. I'll tell you one thing. We don't see the kind of, and this is just society as a whole, we don't see the respect for strangers that we had when I grew up. I mean, you didn't necessarily treat everybody like they're an asshole, like we see a lot of people these days. I don't know. Kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, there's ageism, obviously. I'm sure it exists in the hobby. I don't need somebody flipping out and going on a rant in the comment section. How dare you? I'm 75 years old and I had a kid give me a dirty look at Origins one time. Anyway, so Flaming Heron said, played with a bundle of people of all ages and never felt older. I wonder if he means old. Maybe Flaming Heron never did feel older than with a bunch of people of all ages. Anyway, I have not been the subject, but then again, I have not been the subject of a lot of crap that people have, talked about goes on at conventions and stuff. And I tend to be out and about a lot. I don't have my head buried in, some gaming room at one of the hotels and stuff like that. Now I'm all there. So Omanal says they don't want to see the sex, gore, crude jokes, sabotaging players. A person who wants to be a group player is always welcome. Yep. There we go. Clint Gibson's joined us. There you go. Clint's another one of our supporters of the channel. So Clint says, I just got home, must have missed out on something. Yeah, I was just talking about that. I got an email asking me what I thought of ageism in tabletop gaming. And I was like, I don't really run across it. But, like I said, it's just me. I have no idea. 245 Trioxin is joining us as well. So mentions they won't get half their board games that they want until they retire. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So tonight I am going to be taking a first look and paging through Amazing Heroes, which is from Martin Lloyd, the author behind Amazing Tales and other family-friendly role-playing game content. This has artwork provided by A.U. Marquez. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. The 131-page book is available through DriveThruRPG in hardcover for $29.99. That's what we're going to be looking at. You can get the soft cover for $24.99 or grab the PDF for $11.95. So let's swing on over to the other camera, because here we have Amazing Heroes. So Omanal says, biggest heartbreak is my son doesn't want to play board games. He'd rather fix and break stuff. Hopefully he breaks it first and then fixes it, rather than fix something and then break it and leave it broken. Take a look at the back here. Grab your cape, pull on your mask, and join the fight for justice. In the Amazing Heroes role-playing game, you'll find short and simple rules for creating and playing superheroes. GM advice on everything from pacing a game to running games for children. Advanced rules for origin stories, contacts, and supervillains. Storm City, an action-packed setting for superhero adventures. Dozens of plot ideas and 2 complete scenarios. Someone else says his son is 12 and fixed his washer. Wow. That's pretty sweet. All right, so let's jump on in. Okay, so first of all, I can tell you that the paper quality is pretty good. You can see that this is not the premium hardcover that DriveThruRPG offers on demand. So looks like we've got some art that's sourced from Adobe stock. So that was one of the things I was going to mention. I'm not keen on this. I'm not keen on this digital art because I think it's going to turn some folks off, because let's be honest, there is a lot of garbage on the One Bookshelf sites. I mean, there is just absolute junk as far as role-playing games and war games and D&D settings and storytellers. Well, there is, I would say, at least 90% of what's on the One Bookshelf sites is crap. It just is. It's what we used to refer to as shovelware. When we were talking about computer games, right? It's just junk, just shoveling it out there to make a buck. This reminds me of the kind of digital art that we see with those kind of releases. And I know I have reviewed Amazing Tales and really liked it, especially if you've got kids or, you're going to run some role-playing games for kids. And I don't know, we're going to see, for an example, we've got some other comic book styled art. I think this book would have been better served with something like that on the cover. All right. Anyway, I'm not trying to knock this. I'm just saying that you see some of the not so stellar role-playing game releases use that kind of artwork. All right, so talking about what is Amazing Heroes, what's in the book. Pretty much sums up the game on one page. So part 1, we get how to be a hero. See, now that artwork's cool. I like this artwork. So we got creating heroes, creating a character concept, traits, having occupations. Now, just because this is family friendly doesn't mean that this is dummied down. That was one of the things that really stood out to me about Amazing Tales. I'm assuming that this is going to be about the same. So Indigo Dragon has joined us in chat as well. So Omanal says the only issue with that art is the faces seem to need a bit of touch up. The faces just have a really unnatural look to them with that. I forget. It's a particular program that's utilized, and it just, I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. Okay, so talk about action, when to roll the dice, what you're rolling for, teamwork, hero versus hero, conditions, serious conditions, death, and defeat. So it's kind of like, so there's dead, period. Then there's dead, question mark. Yeah, that's like all superheroes. Dead, question mark, supervillains too. How to be a hero at the table. Be present. Take breaks. Being present is super important. It really is. I'm not like trying to be sarcastic or anything. It really is. Share the spotlight. Set up your buddies. Do not haggle with the GM. Oh my gosh. That is golden rule right there. So running the show. So this looks like this is more Game Master facing here. Session 0. The tone and scale and setting. Advanced hero creation. So this is a rules like game. Just so you know. And you might be sitting there going, wow, yeah, there's a lot to this. Well, yeah, good. We want it. We want a lot to it. But this is still a rules like game. Be creative. So we've got pacing the game, narrative style. So Omanal says this looks like some pretty good rules. Yeah, I guess we would say it's the amazing system. I don't know if that's how Martin Lloyd refers to his games or not, but they all, as far as I know, I think they all have amazing in their names, in their titles. So Omanal says, yeah, those are pretty good rules for being a good player. Yes. Just like there's very important rules as a game master as well. So Indigo Dragon says Icons Assembled Edition is a fun RPG. It's a mix of old Phase Rip with Fate. That's the old Marvel superhero role-playing game from TSR, which is kind of funny because I always thought that game was like super, super rules light. I did not realize that they had a much more advanced version of the Marvel superheroes back in the day. Because got to remember, by that point, when that came out, I was getting out of high school, and we were already pretty well embedded into Call of Cthulhu. And I didn't know anybody running any TSR stuff at all. Not just D&D. I'm talking Top Secret, Gamble World, Boot Hill, none of them. All right, so this is our setting, Storm City. So we get a residence guide. So, this artwork's very cool. I like this. Thundertown, Docklands, Gaslands, the Green Valley. I wonder if they have a jolly green giant living in that Green Valley. There you go. I just gave some game master out there some inspiration. Yeah, I could put a Jolly Green Giant. Huh. So we got Big Thunder and Thunder Park. So we have different factions in the city and how to use those factions. The crime families. Storm City villains. Jeez. That's a pretty large demon there. Almost looks like he's some sort of like frost monster. Looks like he's all frosty. Threats from the lab. Oh, now we get some baddies. Threats from the stars. See, the interesting aspect too is with that the 3D art, when you're not actually modeling faces, it's actually pretty good. It's only when we see the faces that it's kind of weak. All right, threats from the abyss. I was going to say they must be like magical. Threats from below. Is the mole man in here? And then we got some Storm City heroes. All right, so we got heroes in the shadows, heroes in the light. So kind of just giving us some examples of some of the superheroes as well as their pre-gen. Yeah, see, so for me, and once again, I'm not trying to pick on this book because I understand artwork is expensive. It's just, I know gamers, and I know some gamers will not look at a product. Remember, I covered Victory Point Games titles for years when no one else covering the hobby would touch the games. The big names, small names didn't matter. They all felt that Victory Point Games were beneath them because of the component quality, when the vast majority of those Victory Point games were jam-packed with awesome gameplay. So I know gamers. I understand. I understand gamers. I am a gamer. All right. So Scott's talking about the TSR system. Only did TSR systems when at a loss of choice, usually Gunslinger or Top Secret. D&D was dead by the end of high school. Yeah, for us it was. We didn't play it. We really did not play D&D. I remember a couple of games early, like freshman year, I think somebody tried to run some. But after that, we were famous for like, what's the new flavor of the week? So you're like, oh, okay. All right, well, we're rolling up characters for Morrow Project. Okay, we're rolling up characters for Top Secret. We're rolling up characters for Call of Cthulhu. Rolling up characters for Star Trek. I could go on and on. All right, so we're into one of the adventures here. Sorry, I was busy yapping. So we have scenarios. Rise of the Behemoth. Lightning news, the fastest news in the West. So yes, I believe Storm City is supposed to be out on the West Coast, kind of I think it's supposed to be sort of like a Seattle-ish city. So Flaming Aaron says, well, the faces do come off as mannequins. Yes, see, that's what I don't care for. With like I said, it's a particular program that that people use. So Flaming Heron says, yeah, that happens too often. Find myself creating 5e characters, which I never play. Oh, yeah, there were times that we rolled up characters for games that we never got around to playing either. So Omanal says, would have liked to have seen a little edge art in the book. Well, that's kind of cool. So one of the behemoths. See, now that is the 3D render, and that looks fine because it's not somebody's face. I know people are going to be like, geez, Jeff, you're just harping on that. I'm just saying it turns some people off. All right, now we've got the comet is coming. So this certainly looks like this is kind of a scene-based role-playing game, which would not be unusual, especially for a game that's aimed at younger players. All right. And then we should get a character sheet. Yep, there we go. Get some resources here. We've got the amazing backers because this was a successful Kickstarter project. Then we get a map of Storm City. I think that's our 131 pages. Let's take a look. Is it? Yes, it is. All right. So, of course, I will have a review of Amazing Heroes. I should assume that we are going to see this as part of the June Spring Fling, where I'm bringing you a new review every day through the month of June. So we will take a peek at this. Very cool. Very nice. Indigo Dragon says, I think I'll have to pass on this game. Yeah. I don't expect people to buy everything we take a look at. Hey, you know, there are times I do negative reviews too. Not too often, because I always, if I'm going to do a negative review, I check in with the publisher and I let them know what the issue I have is. And I just tell them, I said, yeah, it's going to be a negative review, or it's going to be like a kind of review. And most times they just go, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So Scott says that they have a binder of characters from many games, not played much at all. Nothing beats characters dying during creation. A la Traveler. Although Mongoose Traveler, that does not happen anymore. You can be pretty messed up. So, but you don't die during your character creation, unlike the GDW editions of Traveler were. So Omenal says the game seems like a good starting game for new GMs. Once again, Amazing Heroes is aimed at younger players. Now, that's not to say that you can't have adults sitting around playing these rules. It is a rules light superhero game. So, and of course, I will dig deeper into it when I read through so I can do my review. But keep in mind, this is not supposed to be Champions. This is not Mutants and Masterminds or anything like that. This is supposed to be a rules light, kind of fast-paced action supers game. And I do want to thank Martin Lloyd for sending along this review copy that I shared with you tonight. So, once again, as I mentioned, keep your eyes peeled. I will be reviewing that in the very near future. All right. So, Kevin says, I want to see details on mechanics. Mechanics, man. Remember, keep in mind, I'm not real big on caring about mechanics much. Unless they're super wonky, right? If they're like, really like, what? So wait a second, how many dice rolls does it take for me to unlock this locked door? Then I care about mechanics. So Kevin says they think it's hard to do superheroes without locking the players into clones of existing comic book heroes or getting so crunchy in character generation that takes 3 hours. Well, obviously we could see character generation is not going to take 3 hours with Amazing Heroes. So I got to be honest. I think, now it's just me, I think from my experience looking through various different superhero role-playing games, I honestly think Rules Light is probably the way to go, because otherwise you really are sitting there going, okay, so Let's see. So the Human Torch, and I'm talking Johnny Storm. I'm not talking the original Human Torch. I'm not talking timely Human Torch. Let's see. He can burn through a safe, and it looks like it takes him like 3 panels. So how much time with 3 panels? Because I got to duplicate that, that power. So Indigo Dragon says, oh, yeah, unlocking that door, 7 dice rolls, 1 for each lock and hinge. So, all right. Anyway, so that is it for this time out. I am going to be on, I guess I'll say vacation. Every quarter, I take a week off. So I am going to take my week off for this quarter next week because, as I mentioned before, Monday's a holiday here in the U.S. And I normally do not do shows when there's a bank holiday. That's kind of how I kind of do things. And on the 3rd, I have my nephew Cameron graduating basic training, and we're supposed to get together at my brother's house, and we're watching the stream and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be doing a show on that day either. So why do like just 2 days of shows? Let's take the week off. Count it as my workcation, as Flaming Huron has pointed out. So yes. So now that does not mean that everything related to the gaming gang is coming to a screeching halt for a week. No, absolutely not. Still have news pieces on the website. Starting June 1st, as I mentioned, I've got a spring fling, and I'm going to be sharing a brand new review each and every day of the month of June. Not to say everyone's going to be a video, but a vast majority of them will be videos. So, and of course, I will be back on June 7th. So let's see, let's just take a quick peek here at chat before I completely wrap up. Sarah's pointing out for me to enjoy my week off. Thank you. She's taking next week off too. Scott says, physics be damned. What does the rule book say? I need my grappling rules. I need my grappling rules. So yes, everybody's asking, pointing out I should enjoy my week off. Thank you. Before I wrap up, do want to mention, I really do want to run some role playing. Really want to run some Dungeon Crawl Classics. And every time it seems like I'm going to be able to run some, can't get a group together. So I am really strongly considering trying to get some people together online to play some Dungeon Crawl Classics. If you are interested, shoot me an email. You can always email me about stuff anyway. If there's something out there that you run across and you're like, hey, I think Jeff might be interested in sharing this news, shoot me an email. If you want me to answer a question, shoot me an email. It's jeffmaclear at thegaminggang.com. So the Madman's pointing out his daughter's birthday is the 7th. He'll be back on the 8th. Cool beans. All right. Anyway, if you like this show, by all means, give the video a thumbs up. We have a lot of people watching the stream who don't give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the dispatch airs live, most Monday through Thursdays, right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of Stargrave from Osprey Games. I know there are a lot of people who are looking forward to seeing what I think of Stargrave, and this is one of those first reviews that you will be seeing in June. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. And of course, please comment on the videos. one of the ways that we can grow the channel, and we have cracked 4,400 subscribers, so that's okay. I'm not going to sneeze at that. But one of the ways that we can get more people to check out the videos is if you share a comment on the video. That is how YouTube's algorithm happens to work. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Thursday night or Friday morning or whatever day it might happen to be when you're watching this. I will be off all next week, as I've already just been talking about. So I will be back on June 7th. There's still going to be plenty of content coming from the Gaming Gang, so don't worry about that. And until I return, hope everybody has a good one and game on. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out something to close the shows with. Because it used to be, be smart, stay safe. But maybe we're kind of breaking out of this pandemic. So I don't want to necessarily say that anymore. So enjoy your gaming. I'll catch you in a week. Oh, you're still here. Well, while you're kicking it, how about subscribing to the Gaming Gang channel? Or seeing the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch? Or finding out what YouTube recommends you check out here at my channel? And of course, don't forget, get your geek on at thegaminggang.com.